Who is Tyler Bates or Tbates?
Tyler Bates is a person from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, born and raised for forever and ever. And I have always, since this is an esports focused video, I've talking video games. I've always been playing video games since I was 5. I think my first or 4. My first ever game was on GameCube, Spider-Man on GameCube. I got that for Christmas, and then from there, I've started playing more and more. Got an Xbox when I was 12 or 11, and I started competing in COD and 2K and Madden and FIFA. I would do wagers and all that type of stuff, and then eventually it got to Rocket League because those games were really getting annoying and really a big time sink for not that much gain. And Rocket League has a very sports-like, for sports-esque way of improving, where the amount of time you put in, that's how that's how good you can potentially become, rather than just knowing the the cheats or the tricks or the cheeses, as I call them, like the 8-gap blitz and Madden or something like that. Rocket League takes a legitimate skill, kind of like a sport. And I always played basketball growing up, everything else in between. So it clicked for me. And just grinded from there. Got on the LSU team after not making the team initially. And then from LSU, became big in CRL. From CRL, I made connections, got to know more people, played at other tournaments in the bubble scene. I was also about rank. I was in rank A at the time when rank A was pretty big in six mans, and then me, Demar, and Raul basically took our Discord chats and made a podcast, and it sound expected up for FT. And then fast forward, we're in LA 2 weeks ago, and now I'm here. That's Tyler Bates. Not the best summary, but
I think that's a pretty good summary. You talked about your journey through gaming and then how you got into Rocket League, and going back into that specifically. When did you first start getting into Rocket League? I know you said you played Call of Duty, you played Madden, you played all these other kind of competitive games that are out there, but when did your journey start for Rocket League itself?
Okay, well, the first time I touched Rocket League was in 2015. It was at my friend's party. He had a PlayStation, and we played 2v2, and it was really fun. It was a blast. We were all bad, couldn't hit the ball, the normal Rocket League starting up, it's pretty terrible. And it was so much fun, though, but I didn't touch the game again because, as I talked about a little bit earlier, I had an Xbox. So, and the game that come out on Xbox until either on my birthday exactly, which is February 21st, 2016, or somewhere near that. And that's when I got the game on Xbox. And I would play it every once in a while, occasionally throughout that year. It'd be very sporadic. I would mainly only play the seasons mode, which was really fun. I enjoyed dominating the little all-star bots. And then from there, one of my friends was watching RLCS, and he learned how to fly before all the rest of us did. So when we would play private matches, which is really and truly, if I wasn't out playing seasons, then I would play a private match with them once a month or twice a month, where all of us would be on. We have like 9 of us, and we just alternate. And when my friends could actually fly, this is probably about August 2016, and he was talking about the pro scene and how, Tyler, you gotta watch these people, they're really good and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm really not that interested. I'm sorry, because I was really big on COD, 2K, and all that type of stuff in 2016, especially. Those are my games. I wasn't trying to play Rocket League, and so. But as a little time went on, and this was in my senior year of high school, so 2016 to 2017, I became more and more intrigued at how good my friend was becoming. He was probably rising, whatever was above rising star at the time. Shooting star. He was probably shooting star back in the old ranking system. At this point, he was pretty dang good. He was flying everywhere. And I was like, okay, I want to try to do that. So I started grinding. At the end of December, I wanted to try to test myself. I just kind of hopped in, and he kind of beat me 15-1. He was air dribbling and stuff. It was kind of
Oof.
not fair. And so my inner competitor came out, and I wanted to become better. So from there in 2017, I really count my Rocket League grind starting on January 1st, 2017. And that's when I just started pushing it. I wanted to become really good. I wanted to get the season 3 rewards and all that type of stuff, which are still some of the best rewards in my opinion. The season 3 All Star wheels, amazing. Unfortunate that I can't use them on PC. Um,
Sad.
and started grinding a lot from there, more and more throughout that semester, I guess I can call it, in high school. Yeah, reached champ, reached diamond 3 because they had switched the ranking system, but then reached diamond 3, I believe, in May of 2017, and then I reached champ at the beginning of June 2017, and then my peak on Xbox was about two, champ 2 div 4. I was about 2 games off of champ 3. That was early July-ish. Yeah, early July-ish 2017, and at that point, the CCA had announced their collegiate league for Rocket League, and LSU, the school that I was going to go to for school academics, had a pretty dang good team. They had Modi Killer, they had Donnie, they had Low Tech. They were insane. They were all GC. They were popping off. I'm like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part. Like, I want to play for my school. That'd be so cool. Not too many people get that opportunity, and regardless of whether or not it's actual sports or esports, competing for your school, especially a university that big, is pretty dang impressive. So I wanted to do that. So I grind even more, and then I ended up getting a PC. I got a PC believing that I would make the team,
Wow.
but that didn't happen. Because on Xbox, on PlayStation, especially back then when it was, I don't know, I believe it's 60 frames now on Xbox Series X, and then the PS5. I believe there's 60 frames now. But back then we had major input lag,
It
major.
was rough.
It was just bad. So I knew if I could reach C2 peak, C2 Div 4 peak on Xbox, I would hit GCEs and PC. It's not even a question. And which I did, because I got the PC in September of 2017, and then I got GC a week later. So, um, but I didn't get selected to be on the team because they went with Slat. He was already GC, and I don't really feel like my trial was that fair, but that's a discussion for another day. And so, I mean, it's whatever at that point. So I kept grinding, really, really, really hardcore grinding that whole entire semester. That was my first year of college, and also so I found my classes to be not that difficult, and then also so I could balance it with Rocket League a lot. I would get home from school, and I probably play Rocket League 5-6 hours a day, and I became a legitimate GC 1700, 1800 level, was grinding 6 mans in about November. Got rank A in March of 2018. Became a 1700, 1800 level player in about January of 2018, and that's when I got my first attempt of playing for LSU. For a variety of reasons. One, it was Slat's birthday, so he was out of town. Two, I went and complained publicly in the CCA Discord,
Nice.
and that I wasn't getting a fair opportunity, and I was really heated because watching them, they were the best team right in the league. Yeah, that whole entire semester, and then when they lost, I was like, that wouldn't have happened with me. I was very adamant on that, yada yada yada. In my mind, I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind, it was very. That's how I felt. So I really want to play for them. So I got the opportunity in 2018 January CCA. We won that tournament, beat the likes of UNT, UIUC. Oh, I don't know how else they played. I beat the Marylands back when they were good. All these type of teams, and that's how my career basically jump started. Because after that, they played the next one with Slat in February. They lost, and then they put me back in. And I love my boy Connor, and it's really weird how he went off or his B day, and then he kind of lost his spot. But I think that would happen inevitably. That would inevitably happen because I don't know. I wanted it, and I'm a big believer that once you're putting in a lot of time and you're getting better and better, better, they will have to recognize you. So,
I have a few questions about that specifically that we can kind of go off on a tangent for.
hmm
But before we even get into more about CRL, specifically your journey through LSU, we do also have to
okay.
talk about how you guys came up with First Touch itself. I know you said it was kind of like your
Mm.
Discord chats. Did you ever think it would become what it is today?
I think that we felt that it could become big. We did feel that. We felt that we provided a different angle, especially in terms of Rocket League analysis and how good we all are. Like the Mars peak is 1900. So DeMar's not bad at Rocket League. Now, can he hit 1900 right now? I don't think he can, unless he's playing with really good people. But he's still a solid 1750, 1800 level player. And if you look at the desk at the time, or just general Rocket League analysis, people doing that type of stuff, the people, it's outside of Turtle. Corelli's pretty high rank, and James Bot. Especially back then, 'cause I don't think Joy was even GC or if they had SSL back then. I think they had SSL last year. So I don't think any of those people are anywhere near SSL. So you're really sitting at people who know the game, but they can't really provide the pro angle. We have tons of connections with pros. We're always talking to them. We're really good friends with basically the whole entire NA scene. And then now, because we have the LAN, we got really good connection with the EU scene as well. So we have that nice balance, and we're trying to grow that more and more. So initially, we felt like we could do something that nobody else has done before by content, energy, charisma, knowledge, analysis, and everything else in between. It's really hard to find that. And if you have that, you should try to capitalize on it. So that was the initial idea. And whether or not it got big wasn't necessarily our goal. It was just we wanted to do it because we would sit in Discord calls anyways, and we would argue about stuff. So why not argue about it in front of people? And we went with that. I believe the first stream had about 500, 600 people watching on the Mars stream, which is pretty big. And I think even if we hadn't got picked up by Sonics, I could say we probably would average about 3,000, 2,000 by this point. If it was maybe a little bit more, because it was just consistent. People really liked it. So it was a idea of it becoming big, but it wasn't necessarily the goal. The goal was just to have fun. And the fact that it did become big, the fact that Sonics picked us up, it means that they had a lot of trust in us, and that goes with DeMar already being a caster. They had a lot of stock in DeMar. Psyonix had basically offered me a talent position years ago. Prior to that, I didn't know what I would do because I'm not a caster. But they had offered me that and saying, because just off of my CRL, my post game CRL interviews and everything else in between, knowing Corey and that type of energy, they could see that I could provide something that nobody on the scene necessarily had provided up to that point. So there was that, and then Raul, you have that pro who's also a coach, so he knows the game. When he's comfortable, as he's gotten more and more comfortable, he can really articulate his thoughts in a way that I don't think anybody else can. So the fact that they picked us up was crazy. The fact that it blew up even on the Sonic stream, because that's another thing too. It's not just because on a Sonic stream doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to do well. It could be on there and people could hate it. And so and so the fact that it has done well and it's been so well received and it's just constantly generating conversation is something that I don't think any of us could have anticipated. And it's something that I truly do love. We have esports organizations like G2 tweeting out #base never wrong after the major, Envy tweeting out the machine, NRG's tweeting out stuff that DeMar says. Like, we're changing the whole entire landscape. We're trying to add that sports-ish type of vibe into esports. And the fact that it has gotten this big, the fact that we're outside of desk, kind of like a sports center, college game day type vibe, it's crazy. Something I could have never anticipated. But it happened, and I'm really happy for it, and we're just going to keep trying to grow from there. We don't know what what the limit is, but we're going to keep pushing it. And I even said on my Rocket League Community Spotlight that FT is probably about a 5 out of 10 out of what it can do by about 50%. And with that, it's probably like a 60%. So I think it can just keep on getting bigger and bigger. There's no telling what it could be in about 3 years and 2 years, especially once I'm out of law school and Rocket League's even bigger. That might be even more live shows or of an ability to go to various aspects and grow the game and really connect communities. So we'll see.
It was kind of the perfect storm, right? Like right during COVID, you guys came out with the podcast that got people more engaged, especially because there wasn't that like live environment for people to interact with the pros and the players and the casters. And then you have this amazing podcast idea. It works out pretty well. And they brought you guys on to announce the newest season that came out for RLCS. Like that was a huge deal seeing you guys on the stream for that too. When did you learn that you were gonna be on like the video, visiting the Psyonix offices and doing all that content for the new season?
I learned that in July, the moment Sonics came back from break. So after RLCS championships, I believe Sonics takes 2 to 4 week break. I don't know. I don't know the specifics of how long the break is, but however long that is. So, and then after they came from break, some point in July, they said, "Yo, y'all want to come out to announce RLCS and everything else that's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like first time going anywhere near the West Coast. San Diego was really cool. It was awesome doing it with my boys, and that was amazing. I mean, it's a surreal experience. Hopefully, we can do it again. I think it went pretty well, and I also think that we were little babies back then. Fresh breath kind of smelling like Similac. You know what I'm saying? My interview probably could have been way better, especially then. Wasn't really that good at staring at the camera. Like I can do this all day now. And then also I was a little nervous too. And then now I'm asking interviews at a live crowd. So and Raul is too. So it's just it had to get to that point. We had to grow, and it still went well. It was still well received, and we could probably make that even bigger. So that was a pretty surreal experience. But I knew like a month in advance.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see the way that they have integrated you guys, especially on the desk. You mentioned like doing that sports style college game day sort of thing right outside of the venue at the YouTube Theater for the major. And talking about that specifically, I talked to Raul a little bit after the event, and he was just like, big eyes, was just like stunned by the entire experience itself. Was it kind of similar for you, just being there in person, seeing everyone, seeing the people that you had talked to for like so many times on broadcast before, or like in different forums and things like that, going into actually being an analyst and having these predictions, the bait's never wrong, and all those segments with the interviews that you were talking about?
It it didn't hit me until a specific moment it hit me. It was that was Friday. Friday, the night before we went to YouTube Theater, we all the crew, all the talent went out to eat at BJ's Brewhouse, the chain restaurant. You probably know about it. I go there for the bazookies. So, and I was just sat across from Johnny and Stumpy and Corelli was to my left, and it just hit me like, whoa. We're all here together. I'm sat here with some of the biggest names in the games, people I've watched forever, yada yada yada. And then it hit me on Saturday. I'm sitting next to Gibbs, like that's Gibbs, this wave and everything. I'd already been sat next to him and talking to him for a week. And it's just that I've talked to him so much over Discord that it didn't really hit me until it was just a later moment. It was really amazing just to be like, this is really cool. These are some of the people that I've always watched, especially like for say Johnny. I've been watching Johnny since 17. That's because that was one of the people that my friend who was good at the game told me to watch. So I've been watching him, 12 Titans, everything else in between. So this is kind of crazy. Just go from watching things in my bed to being there chilling. So that was sick. And then also being live was pretty cool. It provides a different aspect. Had to get used to it at first. It's a little different. People who don't necessarily know how the live environment goes, you can just raise your hand like really subtly if the camera's not on you and wave, or whoever the host is, he'll look at you, give you a quick nod, and be like, or just just looks at you, just give you the eye, and then once he gives you the eye says, yeah, it's gonna be yours after whoever's done, you know. And so that's really easy. It's really smooth and transitionless. You can cut people off a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Actually, a lot, not a little bit, a lot better. That's a very drastic difference. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. And then in terms of having the fans and everything, that hit me. I wasn't nervous in the slightest the whole entire time. Yeah, not in no. I just
Ice in the veins.
yeah, I don't know. I've been talking about Rocket League. I'm doing something I love to do. I have a lot of work and preparation that's put into this, and I'm a big believer in that. I've already took you at that point a little bit or a couple times before. That work you put in, as long as you know you're putting in solid work and the best you could do, and you're always trying to improve, that when that moment comes, you're ready. You just gotta roll with it and accept it and have fun with it, especially when it's something you love to do, which is something it's all something I love to do. So I wasn't really nervous at all. Like Wednesday, I was ready to go. Thursday, ready to go. I took out Friday off because I lost my voice. Saturday, there was a little bit of butterflies on Saturday, and that was when I saw the fans line up and they were counting down. So maybe that was a little bit of nervousness. I call that butterflies. That was excitement. And if you go back and watch the VOD on Saturday, I am so loud. They had to adjust it. I had to literally just get all the energy out. It was all positive energy. I had to just scream, ah, and everything else just to get it out when they came to me. But after that, it was just rolling with the punches. Just, this is what we do. I'm with the boys. I'm with the crew, and I have nothing to worry about. We're gonna put on a show the likes that Rocket League has never seen before, and maybe even esports haven't seen before, and that's what we did. So
It was great to see how it all came out to be at the end of it too. And you mentioned it, you guys felt pretty confident going into it, you prepared for it, and it showed during the broadcast, which was great to see there too. You were talking a little bit about when we were mentioning First Touch specifically, that it's kind of like 5
yeah.
out of 10, 6 out of 10 on what it can be. What is the next evolution, the next step for you guys and for First Touch and for all the content you guys are going to be doing in the future with RLCS?
The next step for FT, one particularly, is all of us getting bigger as individuals. That is a huge step. That's why I don't know if Demar's uploaded anything on YouTube yet, but me and Raul have been uploading more on YouTube. That's for sure. Trying to really just grow ourselves as our own brand, our own individuals, and that will help FT grow. That will help Rocket League grow. And I'm not just talking about uploading specifically Rocket League gameplay and stuff along those type of lines. I'm trying to grow beyond Rocket League. I think that this podcast style can be something that transcends Rocket League. You could have FT be Rocket League on the RLCS channel, but then you could also have on the Rocket League channel, but then you could also have FTB having another podcast throughout the week talking about life, trying to educate, foster growth, love, and everything else in between. Become an inspiration, become something that genuinely anybody can come watch, and that's something that I know I want to do. I don't necessarily know if they want to do it, but that's something I know I want to do, and that's why I'm trying to grow myself to become something bigger so that I can do that. Because just touching as many people's lives and and being something that people can look forward to as a not necessarily a ray of sunshine. That's a poor choice of words. It's something that generates some happiness or something like that. If I could just help as many people as possible, that's one of my life goals. So I think we could do that via this, and once again, that all goes back to growing as individuals. Two, law school is particularly in the way. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Having many avenues to go with life is very good. I don't know if everybody should do that. I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go about things. I'm doing it. I don't know if it's the right thing or if it's the wrong thing, but I've already started, so gotta finish it. And with that, it limits what we can do in terms of if FT wanted to be alive every single time, we can't do that because I can't leave DC. So there's always the possibility that after I graduate and I could take the bar anywhere, so say I want to practice in Cali or something like that, then and I'm very blessed. I go to the Georgetown, so I have the ability if I want to practice in Cali too. It stretches everywhere. I'm not limited to a certain region. So if I wanted to do that, then I could. And that would allow us to then all move to Cali and then have a live FT every week, which I think could change things drastically. There's way more live interaction. We could do more skits. We could do skits outside the show, more recordings, more trying to have like a content house, I feel like that's something that nobody in Rocket League does. And there's very many variables that fall into that, but I think the main reason nobody does it is because all the pros especially get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you don't have to hustle like the old optics, like Scump and them boys had to do back in the day for
Oh
COD,
yeah, they really
where
had
they
to.
actually got to hustle to make a living. So you couldn't just live off your 10K contract. So rather than getting paid 2K or something like that, and then you have to do content on the side to make a living, they don't have to do that. It's a lot of comfortability that's afforded when you're just a professional esports player nowadays. I think that plays probably the number one factor in why you don't see content houses. Um, but with that being said, I think there's the road where you could have, or FT could do that, and I've even suggested to them like over the summer just move out to DC, and we could do something. We could do something the entire summer. I think that would be great to have. I'm talking about forfeits. I'm talking about just live content. I know Arsenal lives somewhere on the East Coast, probably not too far away. We can get them out here probably a little bit. Redos is also on the East Coast. We can make all that type of stuff shake. So that's something that could definitely be touched up on and improved for FT. Just having that live area, that live field always as a option. That would be something that's really could impactful too. And then three, making the content on the show just maybe a little bit better. We're still trying to perfect how to write the show. We trying to figure out what segments should be there every week, which segments people like, which segments that can go up on our esports YouTube that will grow its subscribers and everything else in between, rather than just talking about recaps all the time and everything. Trying to balance that entertainment, analytics, and everything else in between. And we haven't found that. We have not found that. I don't want to call it perfection, but we haven't found that specific little
The
niche that,
formula, yeah.
yeah, a formula that could be really helpful. So that's probably the third thing. So those three things, especially if we really master those, that'd be great. And then fourth is it like an outlier. If I could speak Spanish fluently or French fluently or something like that, we could definitely start interviewing the Monkey Moons and the Mark by Eights and those type of players, the fairies, the K-Dops, and then throw those up on YouTube
That'd
or
be
something
huge.
along those type of lines. And so that's something I've been thinking about. It's easier said than done, but I think if I just worked on it, especially over the summer, see how it goes with a Duolingo or something like that, then we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But that's like a lesser thing. It
Yeah,
would be a big thing if I could do it, but it's a lesser thing as to how to help FT grow.
probably
But
gonna
we're just
take a
trying to
little
come to world
longer
by
for
brand.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically taking that Tbates translates, but literally translating those interviews between the players and getting those
Yeah.
insights that we
Yeah.
haven't really seen too, because a lot of the majors and events we don't really have a translator that's there for the interviews themselves. So that'd be
Mhm.
like great to
Mhm.
see things like that. Well, I think we have time for one final question, if that's cool with you, just based on the
That's
time
fine
we
with me.
have remaining. And that is going to be going to kind of the vein that you were talking about with that
What we talking
second
about?
show that you guys would be doing, where you'd be giving advice,
Yeah.
you'd be talking about different like lifestyle things like
Yep.
that people might not know the answers to, and you guys with the different ways you have lived throughout your lives might know. With you specifically playing in the CRL, going to the major, being on the desk and doing first touch, being like talent player, then having experience with the pros as well, with eUnited there specifically. What's the best advice you could give to, say, a CRL player, a pro player, a creator, a caster, to get to a similar position or mindset that you had to get you to where you are now?
CRO Pro, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So to get to where I am now, the first thing I would say is be different. No, scratch to be different. The first thing I would say is don't do it with the expectation that you're trying to get somewhere. I think if you have that, that's always gonna put an unnecessary and undue pressure on your mental. That could affect your health spiritually, emotionally, and also physically. Do it out of love. Do it out of just wanting to have fun, and you think that is a best thing. That is a good thing to not only help your school or help your organization, but it's something you're putting time and you're passionate in, and everything else in between. So that's number one. Because I remember when I went out and I bought the Chef Bates toque and the apron, and I asked my friend to monogram it and everything else in between. I just did that for fun. I just did that because I wanted to provide content in the post game interview and also to make fun of fire. So it was a combination like beat Zona, LSU beat Zona. Come on now, woo. And that's why I did that for. And when I explained it to people, that was what it was. I wasn't trying to go anywhere with it. Number two, now I would say, what did I say for number one the first time? If you remember.
You basically said not be different, but do it for the right reason. I feel like
Oh yeah,
that's
okay,
like
okay,
what it
okay, yeah,
was.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, okay, yeah. So now number two is be different. Be different is number two. After you're doing things out of the love and the passion, now you want to be different. Being different as in you can't be Johnny Boy. You can't be Vaudable. You can't be Findable Carpet. You're not gonna be a Wave Pump. You won't be Gibbs. You can never, ever, ever be the best copycat in the world, but you definitely can be the best you. And whatever that is, and just provide your own little spark, your own little way of saying things. Like I know a lot of people say I talk fast. I do really talk fast. I could probably talk faster than this. And I also have a little bit of accent. I say y'all. I'm from the South. I provide a very sports like perspective. I'm a competitor. I sub for eUnited, so I provide a little pro perspective. I CRL. I'm go to school. I am currently in school. I'm getting a law. Like all that goes into Tyler Bates is, and then I take that and I show y'all my character, and that's just me. What you see on the screen is me. I'm not acting. I'm simply being myself, and that is being different because I don't think there has been anybody that's like me in RLCS, especially on the desk,
nope.
and maybe even content wise. Because I personally believe that if the league had, say, I always say, if me and Fire were pros, then the league would be even bigger because our content was just that much better. We were ourselves. It was a rivalry, and it was engaging. I don't necessarily know if it helped CRL viewership. It maybe didn't. Maybe boosted 3K, maybe 3K with tuning for LSU Arizona. But in all CS, it'd be at a way bigger scale. So definitely be different. Number three, don't think you have to do it all by yourself. If you're passionate, if you're driven, if you're hardworking, you're compassionate, you're loving, and you really care for the people that are around you, they'll definitely care for you. And if they see something in you and they see that you want to push for something and that you're grinding for something, you want to succeed, people will always help you. People love that. People really do. When they see you put in a whole bunch of work to be great at something, that inspires other people and that really galvanizes them into trying to help you reach that point. And I know some people always feel like they have to do things by themselves. Like I gotta do so solo, especially especially if you want to really make it somewhere. That's not necessarily the case. There's gonna be people out there who want to support you and help you. Find that group that's passionate with you, help each other reach those goals, and that'll probably be the best way you can do that. And lastly, I would say I would say is don't expect it to just happen overnight. It takes a while. It went from me, like I said, 2017, I was grinding just to reach Grand Champ. Then it turned to grind to make the LSU team. Then it turned to I wanted to win CRL. Then from winning CRL, when that content behind that in between, and then from and then yada yada yada, so forth, so forth. It's a constant thing. It's not necessarily, and this goes back to trying to just reach something. It wasn't like the moment I started and now I want to do this. It is a grind. It takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight. It might take you 2, 3 years. It might take you 3 months. You might be somebody incredibly special, and if that's the case, that's all for it. But don't get lost in the struggle to get to where you're trying to go. That's the struggle. The struggle, if anything, makes it more worthwhile. 'Cause once you have it, you'll know how special it is and how much you worked for it. You can look back at all that and be like, man, I really did this. And now you won't let it go because you know how much work it took to get there. I think Dazzler is a great example of that. From doing community and all that type of stuff, and Audible, you probably know better about it than
Yep.
me, especially Demar's origins from all that way
You've been
back
grinding,
then
that's for sure.
to now he is sensational. He is dazzling, the international rich man, and he's a figure, and he's stapled. He is solidified. He is not going anytime soon. So, but it took 5-6 years to get to that point. And like I say, he didn't do it alone or anything like that. So just know it might take a little bit of a time. It goes for YouTube and everything, and just really love what you do, and will most likely, I can't say most likely. There's a good chance it'll work out. You have an opportunity, and then if it's not necessarily what you wanted to do, like at some point in my grind, I wanted to go pro. I'm perfectly happy with this. Matter of fact, I probably love this more than I would love going pro. Just for the fact that it's more me and it's less it allows me to be in law school and stuff like that. If I was pro, I can do law school, it'd be straight pro. And I'd be stuck potentially losing tournaments and everything else in between, which might ruin my ability to build my own cachet and stock and everything else between. So if different doors open up, don't be afraid to take those either, because those might be beneficial as well. That's my little TED talk.
Yeah, that is like everything you could ask for this interview, for these answers. It's been great to have you here, Tbates, and like hear the insight and how things have been going for you so far. I wish we had like another hour to just dive into the nitty gritty of everything. So we'll have to have you back on in the future, kind of like where are they now sort of thing as well. But
oh gosh,
what they always ask in the interviews that they did with you guys for CRL and anything else, and I'm sure you're familiar with it now too. Do you have any shout outs, any final thoughts, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Well, first thing, Nick, thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate that. Two, I don't appreciate your question that you asked me right off the rip. For the first ever live questions we did. First ever live questions we did, you put me right on the spot, and I was just actually flabbergasted. I'm usually never flabbergasted on that desk or anything like it, but you got me. So good question. Great question, even. Three, I wanted to shout out everybody who's ever supported me, my mom, my family, my pops, my friends, my girlfriend Ashley, and everything else. I thank you so, so much. Y'all mean the world to me. And lastly, shout out anybody who's watching this. We're all a community. We're trying to really become big. I want Rocket League to. I not only want. I just believe that Rocket League has the potential to be the one esport that you can actually play at bars and stuff along those type of lines, and people will go to the bar, or if they're just at the bar and it's playing, they'll watch it. I think that's the only esport with that potential. So, and I wanted to reach that, but to do that, we have to take our community and grow that. So we're all a family. So, shout out to everybody.
That's the way to do it. And again, sorry about that. I just had to do it. It was the perfect moment for it too. But this is also the perfect moment to say, make sure those people watching as well, check out the description. I'm going to definitely link Tyler's channel down there, since you said you're going to be making more content there too.
That's right.
I believe I even heard you were uploading a video while we were getting ready for the recording for this. Right. So that should be out by the time this is out too. So definitely check that out as well. And all the socials, those will be linked. And definitely First Touch when that comes back too. It's just great to see the content you guys have been putting out, the work that you guys have been putting in. And it's definitely an inspiration for me and a lot of the other guys that have been in the scene trying to see exactly like where we fit, what our like uniqueness, but also like not uniqueness thing is, and get that content out there. You know, that's kind of like the way to summarize it. But either way, it's been great to have you here, and good luck in all your future endeavors, man.
Thank you, Nick.